Hello, my name is Afke Zonderland. We live here in Greenrod, British Columbia, and my husband was fully supportive when I started this micro business, and his name is John. My daughter Anna Gorman came and joined the company about 4 or 5 years ago and came home from Edmonton from a well-paying job with her two beautiful little children and husband. So this has been a joy to us and very helpful. Her skills have been incredibly helpful to Okanagan Rossum Incorporated. After my study at the Living Light Culinary Arts Institute, I started giving workshops, making this type of food, eating more living foods, whole foods, organic foods, until my daughter said, "Mom, these are so good, you should sell these." Haven't we all heard that one before? Well, I started selling these at the market out of the back of my car, where the people said, "What on earth is she doing?" And I believed in what I did, and lo and behold, I came home with $500 in sales. And so at that point, I robbed my husband's bank account to the tune of $10,000 and started buying the things that I felt I needed, because there was packaging to consider. A startup company needs these types of things, and we needed codes and UPC codes. All of that is money. And and then over the years, we expanded, we learned, we had some mishaps that cost money. And as the learning went on, we were small enough so that it didn't cost a lot of money. We were really careful because I know that you shouldn't be spending your retirement money on a hunch and a little hobby. So I was very careful to spend extra money, and it was just one investment and then sell. Another little improvement and sell. So it worked its way through. The initial mistakes were made when the company was small, and I was not incorporated. I was just self-employed. And at that point, the question arose, what if something went wrong? We made a mistake and somebody got sick. I needed to protect myself legally, and certainly that's when incorporation came in. That's when I went to a lawyer. That's when we went to Community Futures for help. And so with a lot of people, I had really good advice, and we followed their steps. And along the way, whatever we did, there was money to pay for it, and that's always super cool. I really feel that my time spent at Community Future was really well spent. And it wasn't inexpensive, I must say, but what came to mind, first of all, my counselor was superb, and we had seen like 20–30% growth every year, which for a small business is really good. And so he right away said, "What's your business plan?" And he hooked me up with a computerized business plan, do the proper costing, proper margins, set my prices. So that was all completely valuable. He also gave me the numbers in terms of at a certain rate of sales, for instance, let's say breaching the $200,000 mark, you would have to have this margin. If you start reaching the $500,000 mark, you could have smaller margins, but you'd have to sell more. So that was a really worthwhile exercise for me. With investments, I've had some people that were willing to invest with me at that point, but I think I was too scared, because the economy and the food business is a risky business. And again, I think it was my age as well that I thought, how hard do I want to work? And I like my hobbies, and I like my garden, and I want to spend time. So the time spent I was sitting on the fence, let's put it that way. And then my daughter decided to help me, because we were having a solid company with solid sales. I believe that if I had needed money at that point, I would have gotten it. At that same time, I also got grant money from the SSFPA. Candace called me and said, "What are you guys doing?" And I explained it to her, and she said, "We have some grant money available to you." And that's when I did go through the HACCP training, which was another really, really valuable experience. They put a system in place. And I think to have a solid system in place for a business is crucial. And so we learned to plan and we learned to shop like a Dutch person. Cheap. And that all brought us in contact with the way the food is grown, how it's marketed, how many distribution channels it goes through, and what determines our price, which ultimately determines our selling price. So again, we learned as we went along, and I'm an intensely curious person, and I always need to get to the bottom of an issue. And to me, that's how you learn. And it had some, let's say, bumps in the road where I spent way too much on something, and the results were not measurable. And that's a problem. And where we were sponsoring running groups, and $4,000 and hardly anything came back, and if something came back, we didn't know where it was coming from. So that's a problem. We did some interviews, but mostly what worked for us is demo our product. This is a food product. I did most of my own demoing, and then my daughter did some demoing. Her husband is wonderful at doing demoing. So the whole family basically pitched in to demo, and that's what got us established. And we have targeted stores like the Nature's Fair of this world, the Choices markets, like high-end. But it was also at the time that Save on Food started the local program. And they phoned us, and I was listed and on the shelves within a week because Save on Foods wanted me in this area and way beyond. So within about 3 weeks, we had like 30 new Save on Food stores. So that became a panic situation. So when I realized I could only supply so many, so we started culling what we could not supply and the stores that did not do well. And so again, it was trial and error. But demoing for us, meeting the people, finding out their needs is crucial. This is a service. This is a food service, and I've always felt that when you serve the people's need, a business will survive. So at that time, I think we might have just gotten this big machine because it became pretty clear that small dehydrators were no longer feasible. We also wanted more uniformity in thickness and shape for our final product because we realized we were a really high-end product because it's very dense nutrition and we use expensive ingredients. So that said, our packaging had to be up to date, and we actually switched from craft bags to these boxes. And all the stores were so incredibly happy because it's so much easier to make a display. And when the store is happy and they make a display for you, well, that's a win-win for everybody. But we couldn't grow as fast as what the market needed. And then the oil prices went down. We had 3 years of no growth, and we scraped by. And we saw a whole lot of stores drop off, especially in Alberta, which used to be our biggest base, became the very lowest base. And we scraped by, but we could because we didn't have a big debt load, and we can change very quickly. I think to adapt to the market and to be able to have a good turnaround, because this product, from investment, buying the raw materials, to dehydration, to selling, and being paid, is about 6 weeks, which is really cool. Sitting on a lot of inventory can break you, and especially if it's with borrowed money. So in that sense, I think this business model and the food that we make in many ways is ideal. And now, at this point, of course, with the government promoting a greater plant-based diet, and certainly gluten-free, certainly it's vegan, it's all plant-based, and certainly we did not want to dehydrate vegetables or other produce that had been doused with Roundup or chemicals. And like in case of recall, and yes, we did go to a recall, and it was awful, and it was about labeling. We have noticed over the last 3 years that our company is stabilizing. uniform and consistent orders coming in all the time, and we've had kind of the same income for the last 2-3 years, and it's growing. Definitely, there's a huge growth in this industry, and so we are taking the leap and building a shop. Fortunately, we can do this on our own property, so we have done some logging to make room for this. So I think we might be able to build the foundations, but after that we are going to be looking for some financing. And because needless to say, this is a big investment for us, and how that will look and who would be investing in this, whether it is banking or investment companies, we don't know yet. It's in its infancy at this point, and we are planning, and we just hope that it will all fall together. But I project that our sales will continue to increase. We want to double our output and purchase another dehydrator, and that in that way, in the next 5-6 years, the money that is invested in this shop, I think it's pretty cool estimate that it will be paid for in 5, our investment. And not only that, our life is so beautiful here. We love our life. My daughter loves her job, and our farmers are so happy with the contract that we give them in the spring. They plant the carrots to our specifications. So everybody benefits, the community benefits, as well as the people actually eating our beautiful food. Working through building this company into stability and in a creating a product that is so beneficial for the future of food for this nation. Canada is at risk in terms of food security. And to me, this special product helps us to extend our growing season. So I would love the government of Canada to pay attention to that need, where we need to take these beautiful vegetables that are coming out of the ground and extend their shelf life by a year or more. How can we do that? By having more companies like mine that are supported along the way by all the little steps that they can take that won't bankrupt the farm, and all the little steps that are available for them. The help that I received from Small Scale was tremendous, and I am so grateful to Candace that twice she alerted me to a fact, Afke, this is available for you. So that was superb. I went to her workshop in Kelowna, I don't know, quite a few years ago, but it was so nice to meet her finally and to see the person behind this company. The other thing where Small Scale has helped us beautifully is with our shipping rate, where they combined all the shippings for the small companies, and so that we could get a way better rate. Like, that is really valuable. And I think the biggest help probably that we got was from our grant to learn and go through the HACCP system, and they helped us along every step of the way. That was huge for me. And what other thing can I remember? I think the people behind it, and when I see people being excited about the things that we do, and I'm thinking, there needs to be more like this happening in Canada, and what is stopping people? Often it's financials.